Hello, Ambassador Stanley Loh. Welcome to our show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Chinese President Xi Jinping paid a state visit to Singapore in 2015. Leaders from both sides agreed to turn the bilateral relations into all-around cooperative partnership, progressing with the times. So, in your opinion, have the bilateral ties been further enhanced after Xi's visit?
2015 was a highlight of Singapore-China bilateral relations because it was the 25th anniversary since we established diplomatic relations. Since then, the high-level exchanges between our two countries have continued, led to many new and substantive areas of cooperation. In 2015, at the end of 2015, we agreed to work on an upgrade of the China-Singapore Free Trade Agreement. We have had 2 rounds of talks and we are continuing with those discussions. We had launched a 3rd project between the 2 governments of China and Singapore. As you know, the first project was the Suzhou Industrial Park, and then we had the Tianjin Eco-City, and now we have a Chongqing Connectivity Initiative. So we launched that, and in just about a year and a half, we've seen some substantive progress in enhancing the connectivity cooperation through this project in Chongqing. And now, very recently, we are talking about stepping up our cooperation on the One Belt, One Road. So I would say that since 2015, we've had many high-level interactions, and we have also had many new areas of cooperation, which we are now working on.
Great. So just now you've mentioned that the bilateral free trade agreement has been undergoing negotiations,
yes.
Right? So, but now the world seems to turn to certain extent of trade protectionism. So what's your view on this side?
Well, both China and Singapore have benefited tremendously from trade liberalization, from globalization. And I think we should continue to press on with this. We are both trading nations, and our economic development depends on free trade. The best thing that I think we can do now are, number one, Singapore and China, we are currently negotiating the upgrade of our bilateral free trade agreement. We should step up our efforts and to try to achieve a high standard and comprehensive upgrade expeditiously. Number 2, China and ASEAN had completed our discussions for an upgrade in the China-ASEAN Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, RCEP. The negotiations have been going on for some time, and I think this is a good time to, again, work closely together, step up our efforts to achieve a comprehensive and high standard agreement. So that together, through these steps, I think we can send a very powerful signal to the world and to our own peoples that we remain deeply committed to trade liberalization and to free trade and to bring the benefits to our people.
In accordance with the Chinese President Xi Jinping's amity, sincerity, mutual benefit, and inclusiveness diplomatic ideas with neighboring countries, China hopes to build an exemplary relationship with Singapore. So how do you define this exemplary relationship here?
I think President Xi's concept of developing 亲诚惠容 type of relationship with its neighbors is a very good one. I wouldn't dare to say that we have an exemplary relationship with China, but I would say that we have a very special and unique relationship. And what is the unique aspect of this? It is precisely because we keep up with the times, 与时俱进. Since we established diplomatic relations in 1990, we started with the economic cooperation because everyone was very concerned about that. And in that area, depending on the interests and focus of both sides at each stage of development, we adjusted. When China was focused on attracting foreign investments and modern industrialization, we did the Suzhou Industrial Park. And then later it was sustainable development, 绿化发展, right? Green development, low carbon development, and we did the Tianjin Eco City. And now, in line with One Belt, One Road and the Western Region development, Sipu Da Kaifa, we have gone to Chongqing to do a connectivity initiative. And in Guangdong, we have the Knowledge City because Guangdong wants to upgrade and reform its economy. So we have progressed with the times. We have also cooperated in unconventional areas like cadre training, which is, I think, quite a unique part of our relationship.
Since China is now the second largest economy, and President Xi Jinping has vowed that China will shoulder its according responsibility in the world arena. So what's your opinion on this side?
We welcome China to play a greater role in global governance and for that matter, in the affairs of the world. It's only natural given the heft and the size and influence of China. You are now the second largest economy in the world, but the most populous country in the world, with the biggest population. So I think we look forward to China continuing to shoulder greater responsibilities. And we have already seen some positive initiatives from China, like the AIIB, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. We were one of the earliest supporters of that initiative. And it's now turned out quite well, although still in its early stages. So we look forward to continue working with China in this area.
Have you observed any Chinese actions or initiatives which have helped the world in terms of global governance?
Well, as I mentioned, the AIIB is a very good initiative, and there were also other initiatives like the New Development Bank and the One Belt, One Road. I think these are all very helpful initiatives and which we welcome, and we look forward to working together on.
Singapore is known for its green environment, and since the 18th CPC National Congress, Chinese government has also placed great emphasis on the importance of environment protection. So what do you think of the measures taken by the Chinese government? So have you noticed any changes?
I have visited many provinces in China, and when I do so, I also try to pay attention to what they're doing. I go to the companies and see what the companies are doing. I can observe that the Chinese leadership is very serious about promoting green development. A lot of local governments now don't just want to have the usual development projects. They want to have low carbon, and green development projects. We talk about things like Sponge City, 海绵城市, and a lot of initiatives. When I go to the companies, it's the same. China, I think, has invested a tremendous amount in the alternative energy and green industries. So this is all very commendable. So I can sense the commitment of the Chinese leadership to tackle these issues. But I think we must also be patient because there are many factors involved in tackling climate change and environmental issues. So it's only been a few years. We need to be patient. And the impact of these positive measures will take some time to be fully realized.
You are the Singaporean ambassador to China for 5 years. Another 2 days in, right?
Indeed.
So you must have noticed the changes in China's social development, etc. So can you describe those changes you've noticed in maybe 3 to 4 words?
If I were to look at the major changes in China since the 18th Party Congress, I would describe them with 3 words: bold, decisive, impactful.
So would you please elaborate a little bit?
One of the most impactful changes that has taken place is the anti-corruption drive. I can sense from not just talking to officials and cadres, but to the common people, that this is really warmly welcomed by the people and also by foreign investors. This is a good initiative and a very bold one, and I can see the decisiveness. Of course, this is also a project which has no finishing line. It carries on, but we can already see some significant progress at this stage, and this is one example, I would say, that's been a fairly successful policy which has great impact, I think, on China for many centuries to come.
What do you think about the future for the bilateral ties between China and Singapore?
I think the future is very bright, and there are many things that we can do together. First of all, at the bilateral level, we have to continue to develop the projects that we already have on hand and to do them well. Some of them, like the Suzhou Industrial Park, is already 23 years old. So we have to identify new areas of cooperation in those matured projects. And some of the projects like the Chongqing initiative is very young and there's a long way to go. So there's a lot of hard work ahead of us, but we are both very committed and very determined to make sure that it is a great success. And then we have a lot of new areas ahead of us, like the One Belt, One Road initiative. At the multilateral level, there's still much that we can do in terms of promoting better understanding between China and ASEAN and closer ties and even more cooperation. And as you mentioned earlier, because there are more voices proposing anti-globalization, and we are both supporters of globalization, we need to work together to push ahead with globalization. But at the same time, there are also a lot of experiences that we can share with each other on how we can ensure that the benefits of globalization are shared evenly across our societies.
Okay, thank you for joining in our show.
Thank you for having me. 祝中国越来越好。